Hi, it's the middle of January already, doesn't it? Ugh. Doesn't it? Doesn't seem 5 minutes since Christmas, and we've still got a few more weeks of dark mornings and dark nights before the days lengthen. So, but we're getting there. We're the middle of January. So I've read 7, so I'm back into the swing of it all again. So I started off with one of my yellow books, because if you follow my channel you know that I've got this thing about yellow books, because I think they are all nice and cozy and warm and yellow like the sun. So this one is by Sue Moorcroft, and it's Summer at the French Cafe, and it's set in France, and it's at a fictional place called Parc Lamel, which she's based upon Wicksteed Park, which is a place that I always used to visit when I was a kid. My parents always used to take me when I was a kid. And we've got Kat, who runs a cafe bookshop. She's got a brother, Solly, and his roommate is Noah. And Kat has got a troubled family life. Her father left, and her new stepmom has never accepted her. Noah is divorced, and his ex-wife has now got this controlling partner. And Kat's got this gorgeous little dog called Angelique. And it's the story of Noah and Kat, really. She's having problems because she's got the people that own the cafe. She's got some problem with bad reviews, but the people that own the cafe, there's illness there, and Noah's got problems of his own, and it's their relationship, and it's all nice and cozy and warm. And yes, it's a yellow book. Go yellow books. Then I moved on to an arc that comes out on the 6th of February, and this looks as though it's going to be the start of a new series, and it's the Antique Hunter's Guide to Murder by C.L. Miller, who is the daughter of an antique expert. And we've got Freya, who's in her 40s. She was an antique hunter with Arthur. They used to go looking for stolen antiques. But now Arthur is dead, supposedly, allegedly. Was he or wasn't he not murdered? But after his death, she gets a letter from Arthur sending her off to an antiques weekend where nothing is quite as it seems. Is the murderer there? And Freya's Aunt Carol, she is this terrific character. I adored Aunt Carol. Over the top, larger than life. You know, we need to see more Aunt Carol. We really do. So that's a promising series that's going to come out, I think. Then I read one that's on the Cafe Nero book list. When I'm filming this on the day that the winner is announced, so at this point I don't know whether this book has won the fiction section. That this will be posted before. My timing's all whatever. So at this point, this is the day that it's announced, but I don't know yet when I'm filming this whether this book has got it. Anyway, I'm rambling. It's 15 Wild Decembers by Karen Powell, and it's almost historical fiction. It's on the shortlist of the Cafe Nero Fiction Award, and it's an evocative fictional account of the life of Emily Bronte, told from Emily Bronte's point of view. Emily is our narrator, and you've got Haworth, and you've got the wild moors, and you follow her through her childhood, through her days at boarding school, through the death of her siblings, and you get her passions and her writing, and I adored it. I thought it was absolutely lovely, and fingers crossed it will win the fiction award and go into the final for the book of the year. Anyway, by the time you've watched this, you'll know whether it was or not. Then I'm got this one, and I picked this one up from the charity shops, which is where I picked up wow, this one. I did a lot of charity shopping in between all the book lists. And this is Helen Oram, and it's the second one I've read of hers. I read Pieces, which was listed for one of the book lists last year or the year before. And it's described as a beautiful, haunting story, intelligent, lyrical and thrilling. She's done this to me again. It's a book when I didn't really know what I've read. I didn't really... It's left me not really what happened, which is what Pieces did. It's set in... We've got a bed and breakfast in Dover where Miranda lives with her brother and her dad Luke. Her mum's died, and the bed and breakfast was in her mum's family. It's been in her mum's family for generations. And after mum's death, Miranda has a sort of breakdown. She's also got pica, which is this condition where you eat non-edible things. She eats chalk and plastic. And the house is also a character because the house talks to you. And it doesn't let its women go. And the women going back in generations talk to you, and the house talks to you. And there's a fairy tale quality. There's a nightmarish quality. You've got the idea of almost poison apples. You can see apples in the cover. And you've got all these sort of different narrators, and you don't know whether they're reliable. And you've got Miranda fading away because she only eats chalk and plastic. And if you've read it, tell me what happened, because I don't know. Then I moved, my Christmas present for my husband, Claire Keegan's latest, So Late in the Day. Again, so full of emotion. There's 47 pages here, but full of emotion. And it's Kaveh struggling. And you don't know until the end of the book exactly why he is struggling. But you know that there's something there, and you've got this tension there, and you've got this emotion running through. And he's at home with his cat and a bottle of champagne, and he's thinking about Sabine, a woman who was in his life. And he talks about their relationship and how they met, and the wrong comments that he made. And I felt sorry for him. I did. And you wonder whether his attitudes were an attitude that he brought with him from his upbringing, whether his attitude towards Sabine was reflective of the attitudes that he saw his father exhibiting towards his mother. Whether Kaveh could change. And I just felt so sorry for him, and I adored it. I read it in one sitting. I couldn't consume it on Christmas Day when I got it. I had to wait until I had a nice free afternoon when I could just read it in one go. Then I listened to an Audible, and this is Close to Home, and it is on the Cafe Nero debut fiction shortlist. And you'd almost described as a coming of age. It's set in Belfast. You've got Sean, who's a working class lad. He's been to university and come back to Belfast, where there's no hope of any jobs or anything. And he's drifting from job to job to job. And he assaults this guy, and it's the fallout over that. And there's not a lot of joy in this. There's toxic friendship in this. You feel he's mixing with the wrong friends. And you've got his friend Mairead, who is like him. She came back from university to Belfast, but she's planning to move away where he isn't. He seems stuck with his friends that aren't good for him, getting over this trauma. And then the final one I read was an Akbar that comes out on the 7th of March, and it's called Martyr by Kaveh Akbar. And I prefer the second half of this book. You've got Cyrus, who's an Iranian-American poet. He's a recovering addict, and he's toying with the idea of suicide. He lost his mother when he was an infant. His father looked after him until he went to university, and then his father died. It was almost as though his father was making sure the boy got to be a man, and then his job was done. And he meets this Iranian-American artist, Orchida, who is dying of cancer. But she is making her death an art installation. She's installed herself in this museum as sort of like a living, dying exhibit, so people can go and talk to her about death. And he goes, and it is that part of the book that I really enjoyed. I didn't so much get... I walked through the first half. I didn't really engage with Cyrus, but when it got to the second part, when he was talking Orchida, then that was when I could feel something. And that was that. It comes out on the 7th of March. So those were the 7 books that I read. Book of the month so far, book of the first half of the month. It's a no-brainer, isn't it? Claire Keegan. It's got to be Claire Keegan. This is the book that made me feel the most. The whole of all the 7 books that I read, this is the book that made me feel the most. Although I loved 15 Wild Decembers, this one got me. It just did. I just adore her writing. So that's it for the first half of the month. We'll see what the second half brings. So happy reading. Take care and bye.